Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Steve Harper, and with me, as always, is Cynthia Berg. Cynthia, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
I am excited to do this. This is our, I think, our fourth Q&A regarding the Ripple membership. Our fourth, maybe we'll do more, but right, this is our last one before we officially launch and birth this thing out into the world come September 1.
In 9 days.
In 9 days, 9 days. You've been so phenomenal on the social posts that you've been putting out there to remind people, hey, look, the time is it's ticking away. If you're going to become a founding member, now is the time to do it, because not only do you get a lifetime discount, but there's some surprises headed your way if you become a founding member. So we definitely want to encourage people to take a deep, dark look at that and see if they can get involved before September 1. But even after, when this program launches, you'll be able to join at any point, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, if money is an issue, which it kind of is lately with the price of everything,
Yeah.
you might want to, really dig in and
Yeah.
really, weigh it out, whether or not this could actually give you some return on investment during the next year. You think about what it's worth to you to really have a practice in a place where you have a community of like-minded people to bounce ideas off of and be, always learning
Yeah,
about yourself
absolutely.
and about your ability to nurture your relationships. And, that could probably result in some, nice return for you, whether or not that's, more customers or maybe even just, more support. you
Yeah,
know
everybody is. I think the folks that have joined so far are most excited about the community that we're trying to build through the Ripple membership. It's a group of individuals that are really committed to not only their own personal and professional success, but actually contributing and adding value and creating ripples for other people as well. And so the community environment becomes a perfect place to do that. And so I'm super excited about some of the ideas and activities we have planned throughout the year. And that's an important point to remember, or to remind everyone that might see this now live or might catch the replay, is that the Ripple membership is a year-long program. Even if you don't join now or in September and you decide to wait a couple of months, we would love for you to be involved. But everything that we're doing come September 1 is going to be available to you. But we've got some special, exciting things happening to kick off this membership, which is I'm truly, truly stoked for. We got our first question from Marnie, who asked, what motivated you to start this? And I love that question, because this is actually the type of thing I wish I had when I first started creating the Ripple, right? This is the kind of community as an entrepreneur I wish I had. This is the kind of community I wish I had when I was in the true sales game and kind of building my businesses, having support and resources and individuals that are there and kind of committed to playing a role in helping you be successful and guiding and directing and just benchmarking to a certain degree, right? I think that would have been so powerful. But it's also a combination, and this is what I hope we'll dive into a little bit more, Cynthia, is some of the great content and some of the subject matter experts that we're bringing into this program. I mean, I'm truly excited. These are the people that I want to hang out with. These are the people that I admire what work they're doing and the kinds of ripples that they're putting out there into the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone who's checked out your podcast knows that you're sort of a master at connecting with people who bring it. They're operating at a really high level of their game, whatever that might be. And it's not all about business and entrepreneurship either. I mean, you have people of all different kinds of expertise and all different kinds of perspectives and viewpoints. And, one thing that we all have in common is that we need to connect with one another.
Yeah.
So, I love how on your podcast you get people who are like, amazing ripplers, people who are really good at connecting to come in and talk about how they do that, because everybody's a little bit different. And so, what we talked about last year when we were thinking about this membership was, let's really go after some people who have something that they might like to offer beyond a conversation that you might have on a podcast. Maybe there's something they can teach. So I think bringing those people in to have a master class every single month by somebody who is really aligned with the work that you're doing and who is a really masterful rippler to come in and dig deep into a particular topic that's relevant to the themes that we're hoping to uncover during the year.
Yeah. Well, one of the questions that we just got from someone that is calling themselves curious is, how is this different than a symposium? I guess one of those success symposiums that kind of brings all these subject matter experts together, and they do that over a day or a couple of days, kind of like a mini conference, virtual conference, if you will, where we really want to, sort of take this membership is we want to focus our energies around a core theme. So each month has a unique theme to it. And we're trying to align with experts that really talk to that theme with, so like Cynthia mentioned, a real strong tie into the Ripple philosophy and the approach and how they're leveraging it. But more to the goal is to make it a little bit different, where we're taking a deeper dive into these themes. Symposiums, you get a lot of content, and those things are great. I've attended a lot of those and enjoy them. But I really reach the end and I feel overwhelmed, because it's like I started at 8 a.m. and I finished at 5, and it's like everything is a blur. This is going to have a lot more longevity to it. It's going to have a lot more meat and girth to it, because we're not only going to learn from the subject matter experts, but those are going to, that content that they provide, a lot of it's going to inform what we do throughout the month. And so maybe Cynthia, let's talk a little bit about that in terms of what you envision that approach and how that can benefit anybody who's participating.
Yeah, well, I kind of see the membership as three different pieces. One is that content piece where we might have a subject matter expert come in and teach a master class, but we also might have people who are come in and maybe have more casual conversation with you, or we might have somebody come in and co-host a live Q&A. So, we can use people in our Ripple circle to help energize us and help us keep the learning going all month long. But also beyond the content, I feel like there's like this coaching and events piece.
Yeah.
So everybody knows about the iconic 8-minute Ripple, right? So we wanted to make that a cornerstone of the membership too. And so members are able to register for the 8-minute Ripple for free, which means, they're going to maybe have some familiar faces with them. This is going to be a chance for members to ripple with other members. It's going to be a chance to ripple with people outside the membership and give them a peek at what, members might be talking about. We're bringing the TED Ripple, the Lunch and Learn experience to the membership now too. So that'll be something that's exclusive for members, a way to, really dig in deep with a TED video and have a live discussion about our, what we thought about it, and, our different unique experiences and perspectives. I mentioned the Q&As. There might be an opportunity then. It's going to feel a little bit like group coaching, where, we might actually have a member who has a real life problem, or not just talking theoretical now, we're talking about real life challenges that can bring that to the table. And if they're willing to, have that coaching experience in front of the group so that we can all learn from that. And then also you're offering some office hours where if, you're struggling with something, you can get, a small amount of time with Steve directly to kind of, figure out what your next steps are. So that kind of coaching and events piece, I think, is what's really different about our membership. This is not about pre-recording a lot of content and then putting it up on the internet somewhere where you just sit and listen to a talking head all day long. Want this to be way more engaging and interactive, and it's an experience, not just learning. And then I think the third piece is the community and piece, where we have a moderated forum where we'll be starting conversations that you can pop in and pop out anytime you want. This is a place that's open 24/7. You can, have conversations and leave comments for other members. So I have an optional member directory where you can It's not a lead list,
Yeah.
but it's a way to be able to connect with other members. So if you have something, you have a connection point with another member and you want to continue that conversation in a different way, then you'll have the ability to connect with them. So it really is, membership might not even be the best word.
We've talked about that. Maybe there's something better that we need to call this thing, but
Yeah,
it is what it is right now. I mean,
yeah,
that's what we're calling it.
yeah,
Scott,
we're open.
Scott just asked what the iconic 8-minute ripple is. So apparently not everybody knows what that is. So,
Well,
it's Scott, thanks for that question. I mean, it's a approach that we take that's different than any traditional business networking where you have to go in with a business card and an elevator pitch. We've actually taken this process of connecting via questions, ripple connection questions, where you can actually get to know people before, the business might be, at some point might be a priority for you. But at the end of the day, if you can actually connect and create an experience with another individual, the possibility of that connection being so much more than somebody just hearing what you do. Let's say you sell insurance or real estate or whatever. And I just completely turn my blinders on the minute I hear what you do professionally, because I don't need either of those, right? So the goal behind this was to kind of demystify that entire approach about networking, really take it to the point of real heart to heart, belly to belly connection. And so these events have been phenomenal for transforming how people go about building their network, which is not starting with that question. So, what do you do? In fact, we have the rules. You can't even talk about what you do for work at this juncture, because we want people to connect at this human to human level and really experience that for what it's worth, because such great magic comes out of these interactions. And the goal behind that is to be able to leverage a question that is both fun to ask and fun to answer, which gives you some insight, not only for your own self, but also for the person that you're talking to really hear a little bit about who they are, what lights them up, what they're passionate about, what their background and experience is. And so we cover a plethora of different topics within these questions to really create a fun, unique interaction. And we don't do it just once, we do it multiple times. So you get to meet several great people, and everybody walks away with this appreciation for connecting at a deeper, more meaningful level. And so I appreciate that question. We certainly hope you'll attend an 8-minute ripple. If you're like Cynthia said, if you're a ripple member, right, you get into these events for free. So, if we have, 12 of these events in a year, I mean, that's almost the cost of the membership. That alone, combined with everything else that we're going to do for our Ripple members, I mean, we're really going to be doing something, I think, of significant value.
yeah. So 8-minute ripple is like speed networking, only way more interesting than your traditional networking where you just talk about what you're selling.
Yeah.
So it's speed networking, only you get to, ask people questions that they might not normally get asked at a traditional networking event. And you get to talk about yourself in ways that are infinitely more interesting to you and to other people. So what you walk away with, at least my experience with the Ripple, is that I walked away feeling like I could remember every single person that I talked to at the event.
Yeah.
Which is a completely different experience than a traditional networking event where I don't remember anyone I talked to, and I have this pocket full of business cards and I can't really remember who these people were, So unless you're like writing notes on the back of these business cards, you walk away and you just like, I don't know what to do with all these cards. So yeah, it's just so much fun. It's a complete paradigm shift.
Yeah.
And for me, being an introvert and being really uncomfortable in social situations, I walked away feeling very confident and inspired to go out and start conversations with people. It really changed it for me and made conversations with strangers even possible and easier. So for me, I just can't say enough about the 8-minute ripple. I was there way back
Way
when.
back when.
And
Yeah.
we've been talking forever about how to make them virtual. Last year, we made that happen, and they've just been amazing. We love an in-person event, but if there had to be my favorite online event, 8-minute ripple is it.
Yeah. But the neat thing about it, I think, is that people really walk away with a different appreciation on the power of connecting, right? So you mentioned speed networking in those events. I created the 8 Minute Ripple because I didn't want to necessarily be lumped in with those events per se, because they're all about quantity, which there's very little quality that ever comes out of that. And the reality is because everybody's trying to push an agenda. So by us taking that agenda off the table and saying, look, you can't promote yourself or your business. We don't really want to talk about anything that denotes status. And if we can get two people to connect over a question and get to know one another, it's amazing when you look beyond just all that pre-story and the presupposition and the prejudgment that comes into the traditional networking arena, online or offline. You all of a sudden learn an invaluable skill that you can take back to other networking events, back to your companies, to your own communities, where you can actually connect a lot deeper. Like, hey, I was attending this event last week and it totally changed my perspective. But they asked this question, which was kind of fun. And why don't we just, throw it on the table and see what everybody else's answers are? I've had so many people that have said they've taken that back to their team meetings, they've taken it back to their organizations to get people to actually open up and engage rather than just talk about the TPS reports or the business agenda or whatever. This gives people an invitation to connect at a deeper, more meaningful level. And that's what we love about it. So I'm glad you asked that question, because we've kind of assumed a lot of people know what the 8 Minute Ripple is, or they might think, yeah, hey, it's just this kind of speed networking. It has that speed connotation to it, mainly because we want to get you to connect with enough people throughout the event to really feel like you met some great people that have the promise of a real relationship, right? Where you can carry and take that forward. But at the end of the day, it's really geared towards really meaningful connection. And you would be amazed at how deep you can dive in 8 minutes. It's truly blows my mind every single time we do one of these. So appreciate that question, Scott. He had a follow-up. How much time do you anticipate the membership taking up? I think that's a really good question. I think a lot of people hesitate. It's like, I've got a lot on my plate. I don't know if I need another thing. Is this going to be something that I feel like I fall behind? Like I get behind in my homework, and then I'm going to be lost. And then I'll be like, why did I even pay to be a part of it? Maybe talk through that a little bit, Cynthia.
Yeah, so our plan is that every month, like on the 1st or around the 1st, you're going to be able to log in and a whole new month will be open to you. There will be some things right on the 1st available for you to watch and do. You'll get the dates, the key dates for the events that are happening that month. So you can put them on your calendar in advance and make sure that they, fit in. But then we're going to try to not overwhelm you by putting everything in it at the beginning, so that there'll be just a little bit for you to chew on. And then the next week, there'll be a little bit more for you to explore. And the next week, a little bit more. So hopefully we don't get that feeling of, oh, I'm so far behind, because in a way, I don't really feel like you can't really be behind.
Right. Exactly.
My metaphor for this whole thing is that it's kind of a buffet. And Steve and I are going to be like those people who are constantly coming out and putting a little bit more on the buffet for you. But you get to take your plate and roam around the buffet and take what looks good to you and enjoy.
Yeah.
And then if you're still hungry, you can come back for a little something more. And if you're full, you can, kind of sign off for now and trust that when you come back at the end of the week, you are not going to be missing anything.
Yeah.
So everything that will have happened while you were gone is going to be there for you. And you may not partake in everything. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't go to a buffet and eat everything at the buffet. Even though it all looks delicious, you still have to go in there and say, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I'm really interested in. And it's enough. It's going to be probably, I would say, on, approaching the side of probably too much to do everything. So we don't expect it to be like a class where you must complete your assignments and things have to be done on time. And as Steve mentioned in the beginning, what's going to happen is that when we enter into a new month, that old month is going to still be there. So what we're planning to do, and I don't know if this will change at all, but what we're planning to do is that in 12 months, there's going to be 12 months of content
Yeah.
there for you. So if you had a month where you were it was a little difficult for you to tune in, you could use a month where you have more time and space to go back and watch something that you missed, or do an a little assignment or a challenge that you may not have been able to energize. And then once we get into month 13, we're going to be circling back around to the theme for that month. So we will be replacing that month with a new month of content. So the theme will be the same, but all the content and experience will be different around that theme.
Yep.
So there will be some kind of incentive to stay and experience the themes all over again, because there will be new experts, there will be new content, there will be new challenges, there will be new Q&As, there will be new coaching opportunities, there'll be new 8-minute ripples. So this is something that's a little bit less like a curriculum where you have a beginning, middle, and an end, and it's more like an ongoing community where you feel like you belong.
Yeah.
And you can kind of come and go as you have time and energy to do so.
Well, I think actually your perspective on the buffet component is really a good one, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a couple of things that I would play off of that. Number one, our members are actually going to dictate what they want more of and
Mhm.
things that they want us to try and adjust. So this thing is going to be, especially for this first year, is going to be very much a dance with our members to figure out really where we can add the most value, what content that we can provide that provides the best return on investment for our members. And so that's really important that we look at everybody, especially our founding members and those that are going to be involved in the early days of the program, as our co-founders, right? Really, they're going to be co-creating with us and telling us what works and what they need, what they would like to see us do. And so for that perspective, I think it's extremely organic rather than just putting out the same menu all the time. Some of the themes may adjust. Some of the subject matter experts that we think that we should be talking to, you may come back and say, have you ever thought about this author? Have you ever thought about this, this content creator, et cetera? And so that's what I'm excited about. The other thing that I think is really unique in going back to your buffet example for one more example is that, like you said, you get to figure out where you want to go. If you go to a buffet and you ate everything at one point, you're like, oh my God, I never want to go back to that place again. That's
Right.
where most memberships are. Actually, we had a question in from Tammy. How's this different from any other members? So she may have joined a little bit late. And, so just kind of reiterating some of the things that we're doing differently is a lot of those membership programs feel like you have to eat everything that you see at the buffet before you are equipped and ready to go to the next, month or lesson or whatever. We're not doing that, right? So at the end of the day, you come in and you self-select and you position the way that you most want to, organize and consume the content and the information. And if you, like, Cynthia said, you're full, you push away, come back in a week or two, and the information doesn't disappear, doesn't go away. And it's not one of these things where we're actually saying, well, look, you have to, pass go, collect your $200 before you can start, doing anything substantial. We want this thing to be free flowing in terms of that approach. So coming back. So I think, Scott, your question about, how much the time will this take? Well, that really depends on you, right? How much you want to participate, how much you want to engage. We anticipate as you get in as a new member, everybody's kind of in, they want to play, they want to kind of explore and experience everything. And then sometimes life gets in the way and you get busy and things happen, et cetera. That's cool. But the great thing is it never goes away during the next year, because you can always come back to what happens in September and October and November. So I think those are critical things to keep in mind, because I think that is a significantly different approach than some of the membership programs that are out there. Is, you feel like the FOMO, the fear of missing out, is really big for a lot of people. Like, oh my God, I got to do it. And then if I don't, I have this guilt. And then that guilt brings on like buyer's remorse. Why'd I spend all this money? Number one, this is not a big or expensive program to participate in. It's extremely affordable. The return on investment. I've been telling people that I want at least a 10x on the ROI for all of our members, but I hope it's more like 100, ROI. But the reality is that the financial investment you're going to make for the effort that we're putting towards this program is going to be you're going to be well rewarded for being a part of the membership program. I promise you that. And you're going to walk away with some great information, some great content that you would never have probably experienced anywhere else. And we're delivering it in a way that I think is very unique from a lot of member programs. One of the things that I'm most excited about is we are going to be having an intentional anchoring exercise at the beginning of every month to tie into the theme for that particular month. And what I like about this is whether you need to find the space to get quiet or just, focused or meditative approach to how we're going to do these themes. The nice thing about that is having just a kickoff for the beginning of the month, whatever that theme might be, where you have that anchoring in, that intentional anchoring exercise that we're going to do, which is going to be led by a really good friend and supporter of the Ripple, Diana Morty. I think this is going to be something that you are going to absolutely love, because it's something not only are we going to do at the beginning of the month, but anytime you feel stressed, anytime you feel like the rat race is catching up to you, come back to this. It's a perfect exercise to go through 10, 15 minutes just to reset everything. And I can tell you from my personal experience, and Cynthia, I know you have the same approach as you have when you get a little, life gets a little overwhelming, work gets a little too busy, stress is building up. You need to take a step away. You need to be mindful and approach, how you're going to bring that stress down to center yourself back to kind of a place of peace and calm. It can be, that alone can be worth, so much to, I think, our members.
For sure. And, I just want to maybe just tell everyone what our theme is for September. It is we're going to be exploring the freedom to be yourself.
Yeah.
So we're going to have all different kinds of, we already do have all different kinds of members who are here for different reasons. We have some members who are leaders in their organizations. We have some people who are employees who are looking for better connection with their, peers, or even with their customers. We have entrepreneurs who are building their business and really struggling, because being an entrepreneur is kind of lonely business, and so to have other people to bounce ideas off of. And then we actually have a lot of people my interest in the membership is really kind of selfish for, just personal reasons. I'm just on the introverted side. I struggle with, putting myself out there, struggle with anxiety in social situations. So the more I can practice, the more effortless those kinds of interactions become to me, those everyday personal interactions. So really, it's just on a very personal level. So I think the theme of freedom to be yourself comes way back to the beginning, about just understanding who you are and having some courage to show up in the world as yourself, and not feeling like you always have to be putting on a mask, like you always have to have the mask of the important CEO, or the mask of the entrepreneur who's got it all figured out, or the extroverted mask where you show up at a party and have to, wear the lampshade on your head and, have funny jokes to tell.
Yeah.
That's really not really it. This is about how do you show up and have the freedom to bring who you really are out into the world and connect with other people authentically at that level. And so a lot of it is about curiosity and wonder, which is a kind of a, thread that goes through this theme. And why don't you, Steve, you want to announce who's going to be helping us with the masterclass?
Yeah, I'm super excited. We are going to be working with, you may know her from the Today Show, Headline News, CNN Headline News, Lynn Smith. She is what she calls herself an Anchor alum. She is going to be involved in this first month to kick off the Freedom to Be Yourself. And she's got this great masterclass program that she's going to put together. I'm super excited to bring this to our members. One, because she is an absolute rock star. She is amazing on so many levels, but she just has a great perspective on this topic. She has a great program that she's put together specific to this theme. And she was just on our podcast, the Ripple Effect podcast. So definitely go back and catch that episode, because you'll see what kind of energy and enthusiasm she brings. It was a hell of a get for us to get her to agree to do this right out of the gate. And our hope is that she's going to become an engaged member as well, because all of our subject matter experts are going to be extended membership to the Ripple membership. So you're going to get an opportunity to potentially ask them questions or engage with them. Lynn is in the middle of a launch of a pretty big program, so her engagement relative to September might be a little bit challenging for her schedule-wise, but she is going to be participating, I know, because she believes in what we're doing, the kind of community we're trying to create, and I'm super excited to have her. And then next month, we've got, an even, bigger surprise. We'll probably cover that in the Q&A for next month. We don't want to, show our cards too quickly, but let me just say, a best-selling author that will absolutely blow your doors off. These are the kinds of people that I am super excited to bring to the table. And when we first started thinking about this is, I mentioned it earlier, but this is the kind of program I would have always wanted. This is the kind of environment I needed, and I do need, which is why we're creating it now. But, starting off, 16 years ago or more, when I first brought out the Ripple Effect book, I would have loved or killed for something like this that is really becomes a little bit more organic and adjustable as it grows and kind of it finds its way into the world, rather than a very direct prescriptive method where you feel like content's being thrown at you. Cynthia and I have been talking about this. We want this to be a transformational experience. One, not only that you're just excited to be doing for the next year, but because this becomes your community. Becomes you have a vested interest in what we're creating here, and so that you're part of this for years to come. And so just a quick reminder, until August 31st, you have the opportunity to become a founding member. That gets you a lifetime discount. So every year that the renewal comes around, you're always going to have that discount available to you. So a lot of people have already taken advantage of that. So we're super excited by that. But those of you that are maybe on the fence, hopefully this Q&A gives you some sense of why this is something you don't want to miss out on. And if, and money is, is tough on everybody right now. But at the end of the day, I think that the cost of this program, even at full price, is a drop in the bucket for the value that you're going to get from it, which is great. What I thought I'd do really quick, Cynthia, if you don't mind, I'm going to just share really quick the actual site. So if you go to ripplecentral.com and you go to the very top, we have a banner that says, to learn more about the founding members, but you can also just go to join, and that's going to drop you right here. And there's a video that we put a lot of time and energy and effort into to make sure it better explains what we're trying to do. But the goal behind this is really to make this your year of connection, really create some great community, create some great experience with some excellent coaching and some different, unique offerings than I think any of our Ripple memberships do. And so there's some great details specifically about why this is, connection, how we're going to do it really does take practice, and what a perfect environment we're creating in order to do that. But then whether you're an individual and you're like, I don't know if this is for me because I'm not a business person, or maybe, I just sent my kids back to school and I'm looking for something to plug into. Well, we definitely want all people that have an interest in participating, getting better at connecting, need a little bit more great content and coaching that you might not find elsewhere. But this is also true for professionals. All you have to do is open any of these areas, depending on which one applies to you. And we even have a team discount that we can provide for organizations, for HR departments, or leadership that is looking for a better approach to their personal and their professional development programs. We've got ways for your folks to get engaged and involved. Not only will they learn about one another, but they'll also be able to take that skill building and apply it to how you go out there in the world in terms of representing your brand, interacting with partners and customers, all that great stuff. And then, of course, entrepreneurs, which Cynthia and I are both, right? We know that being an entrepreneur can be an extremely isolating and lonely business. So this is a great way for you you to kind of learn and understand what we bring to the table for you as an entrepreneur as well. I want to be clear. This is not a program that we're bringing you in so that you feel like people are going to constantly be pitching or selling. Everybody's on their own journey. Really, at the end of the day, there'll be an opportunity for you to learn what everybody does professionally. But at the end of the day, the purpose of this is to curate a lot of great content, have some excellent coaches, myself and Cynthia included, and provide you an environment where you can have the freedom to really literally be yourself. And so I'm so thrilled that we're starting with that theme in September, because there's some, some great stuff that some surprises and approaches that we're going to take that are really unique to you. But I highly encourage you to look at this and just kind of get an understanding. But most importantly, I want you to understand the entire year really is geared around these three themes, which is being genuine, being generous, and being different. And ultimately all of the benefits that you'll get from participating here. So this is what, we want you to know and understand and appreciate what we're bringing to the table, because let me tell you, we are excited about what our approach is for the Ripple membership. So go to ripplecentral.com, hit the banner at the very top of the page, and you can learn about the founding member, which is just over a week, right? Basically to be able to sign up and become a founding member for the lifetime discount. And if you've got additional questions, reach out to us and let us know. We'd be happy to answer any of those questions offline. Or if you've got just in these last few minutes, any questions you'd like us to answer, feel free to pop them into any of the platforms. We'll be happy to, we'll see those, or we may see them on the replay as well. We'll be happy to answer those.
What I was just thinking about too is like what a benefit it is just to be in a group with you, Steve Harper.
Thanks.
So, and I'm not just trying to blow smoke here, but before we ever started talking about this membership, my experience of you as a friend and a fellow Rippler was, you'd email me constantly, connecting me with somebody that you knew, because you knew I had to know them and that they had to know me. Like you put the pieces together. So I was constantly getting emails where you were voluntarily connecting me with these really fascinating and people that are like kind of pivotal for me still today,
Yeah.
So these were like lifelong connections that I made simply because I had this connection with you and you were willing to do that. Well, I wondered to myself, who is this guy who has time to do that? If he's doing it for me, he must be doing it for like 100 other people too. And which is true. And so this just makes you a really busy person. And so what I think we're accomplishing too with this membership is this place where you don't have to facilitate that one connection at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can help facilitate this in this community environment between the members. And it's more efficient and more meaningful when people have the opportunity to reach out and make those connections themselves. And so I think it was just this moment of clarity we had last year when we said, what we need to do is we need to take what you are already doing, which is really individualized and personal and time consuming, and we need to amplify that in some way so that we can get more people connected. So it just made sense to create a place where that could transpire. And so becoming a member actually means that you are becoming intimate, part of an intimate group where Steve Harper exists and in his natural state will automatically be curious about you and who you're connecting with. So I think that in itself, for me, is really part of the priceless nature of this particular membership. This isn't something that you're sort of sponsoring as, the author of the book and I'm just, this is another income stream or something like that. This is like kind of heart-centered work for you, where you wanted a place where a playground where you would actually be connecting with and available to the people who really wanted it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate those kind words. Actually, Kellyanne Goring had actually said, "Oh, but he will connect." She had two comments on there that just going to pull in really quickly via Facebook. Some of our other comments are not showing up, but except on the back end. But the connecting is an important part of growing. Thank you, Kellyanne, for those, and thank you for those kind words, Cynthia. I mean, it is. Yeah, it goes without saying. There's going to be a special interest in finding a commitment to helping you where you're at when you're a member here, right? And that is not that I would not necessarily do that anyway, because anybody who knows me knows that that's kind of front and center, sort of part of my DNA. But I will be a heck of a lot more intentional with our members, right? And I will be focused on trying to deliver, my 10x on the ROI, right, for what you're plunking down on this membership, which I think is very low. We've had several experts in the membership arena like, God, this is just a hell of a deal, right? So you should be charging a lot more, and we might in the future. We very well might. But at the end of the day, what I want to be able to do is, especially for these early adopters that are coming in and being a part of this co-creation process of the Ripple membership, is I really want to get to know these folks, one-on-one, get to know what's important to them. And most importantly, ask that question, how can I help? Right. Because at the end of the day, the types of ripples that we're trying to create, and I mentioned this a couple of times already, but this is the kind of program I wish I had had as a entrepreneur and as an individual that was really just like you. I'm very introverted and shy, and I struggle to connect in different business arenas and environments. Never felt like that was where I found my footing. But when I found people that were at the same level and kind of committed to the same thing, and they weren't trying to push an agenda, but they're more or less trying to get to know me, and we're trying to interact at a level to figure out where we can bring some mutual value to the table. That's what community is all about, right? And at the end of the day, there is a reason that we're creating it in a way where there's some things and activities that happen behind the paywall, so to speak, the membership wall, because that's where the magic happens, right? And those people are looking for quick hits to connect and quickly push their wares on a group or a list, where you find that often in a lot of memberships. That's not going to be tolerated here, because we want this to be an environment where everybody feels like they're included and engaged and have people that are looking out for them, and they're willing to show up and be willing to look out for the others as well. And so from my perspective, the goal would be to really be able to focus in on what I can add in terms of value to every one of our members. And you are right. At the end of the day, there's only so many hours, there's only so many connections that can be made. And I'm going to put my energies and efforts towards those people that are believing in me to be a part of this program. They're certainly going to get, front row seat to that process and that magic. And, I can tell you, it's one of those things that I love doing. I'm really good at figuring out where, I can add value or create connection or nudge you in the right direction in terms of the coaching and the approach that I take. And so I think that will be a huge value to the program that we're bringing to the table. And so, yeah, I appreciate you raising that, because it's a passion thing for me, right? At the end of the day, I want to see all of our members be happy and successful and with people that they really truly admire. My ultimate goal would be you walk away from 12-month experience, you're like, yeah, I'm definitely signing up next year. But it's not because of that. It's because, wow, I made over the course of the year lifelong friendships I never would have gotten to have in my life if it wasn't for this program being created. It just wouldn't have happened, right? And I want to see what the next year does and the year after that, and so on and so forth. So the momentum we're trying to create, I think, is pretty substantial. So it's kind of fun. And Kellyanne says, such an amazing vision. I thank you. We appreciate that very much. I mean, we're excited. We hope, you're going to be a part of this program, because I know the value you bring to the table and how many awesome people need to know you. And you'll benefit greatly from, being a part of this. So we appreciate that comment very much. Well, Cynthia, as we wrap up, anything else that you want to, sort of just, close up with, in terms of, comments, thoughts, any perspectives that we want to share with anybody who might not only just be watching right now, but who might catch us on the replay?
Yeah, I want to say that the membership kicks off on September 1st. Your chance to get that founder's pass goes until midnight on August 31st. So in order to take advantage of that deal, you'll have to sign up before August 31st. But if you're coming to us after September 1st, you can sign up anytime. When you sign up, you get you're in for a year from the date that you sign up. So, so there's no like hard beginning to this, and there's no real end in sight. It's sort of a continuous month by month experience. You get to start when you start, and you get 12 months of membership from that date. So if right now is not the right time for you, but you're paying attention, and come October, November, you want to sign up, then we welcome you with open arms. And so just anytime you have any questions about what we're doing in the membership and how to sign up, we'd be happy to have a chat with you and discuss what you're looking for. This is going to be a program that's going to evolve and change over time, because of what our members share with us about what they want and need from the membership. So if after being in the membership for a couple of weeks or after a month or two, you're just really hoping, you were hoping for something a little different, then we invite that conversation and the opportunity to co-create that.
Yep.
That the stuff that you're looking for, because probably if you're needing it and wanting it, probably this is universal and other people are looking for that too. So this isn't as much a product as it is a relationship.
Yeah.
And how fitting is that for the Ripple?
Absolutely.
That we would want to treat it like a relationship and a community.
Yep. Yeah, no, well said. Well, we definitely hope that you will go to ripplecentral.com, click up on the very top banner where I just showed on the screen, where you can learn about the Founders Pass. That's available for the next, I guess, 8 days, right? So next 8 days. And then September 1st, we kick off the membership with, buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride. I promise you this, what we have going on in September alone, I think is just going to be amazing. It's going to blow your doors off. And we definitely hope you'll consider it. Like Cynthia said, if you have questions or want to have a conversation offline of, maybe didn't want to put a question out, where we addressed it on the live Q&A or potentially posted it, but no problem. Just reach out to us. We are certainly open to and excited to have that conversation and find, a way to at least give you our perspective on why this program can benefit you and where you're at right now. The other thing, before we go, at ripplecentral.com, if you sign up just to go and be part of our newsletter, you'll get a summary of all the great activities and events that we've got going on throughout the months. You'll see a detail of all the posts and podcasts that have been up for the previous month. And it's just a great way to get a summary of everything that's happening within our Ripple community. We call it, our Ripple newsletter, but it's really everything that we're doing here at Ripple headquarters to kind of make this experience amazing for you, not just for the members, but for everyone, right? So we encourage you to be signed up for our newsletter as well. So Cynthia, thanks for the time today. I really appreciate you jumping on this. I love doing these Q&As because we get such great questions and great feedback, and we have this great conversation because this is, if people mentioned last week, I had, last month on our Q&A, how passionate we were. Well, it is a passion. Everything that we're putting forward here is a culmination of a lot of hard work, and I appreciate everything that you're doing to make this dream a reality. So I'm excited to be on this journey with you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right. Well, listen, everybody, you go out there, make a difference in the world, make a difference in someone's life, make a difference in your own life, and as always, ripple on.